Footy and Frothies. Preview time. Round 11's ahead of us. On the back of Magic Round, we're back to normal rounds. No magic. So looking forward to definitely some games of football. I can't say I'm really overly excited about many of them, but we're going to try and tip some winners throughout. Boys, how are we shaping up?
Doing very well, thank you. How's young Oliver?
How am I? I'm quite well, thank you.
Excellent, Oliver. Good. You've thrown me with your stupid face.
Spent way too much time talking about rugby league in the last couple of hours.
There's been a lot of vodka, no tequila consumed in the last couple of hours. But anyway, we've got to look forward and do a show. It's Footy Frothies. Go to Rugby League merch and buy some of our gear. rugbyleaguemerch.com. Hats, shirts, steins. I don't know, what else?
Beer coasters, schooner glasses.
Lots of fun stuff. Get that up there and pay our way. As well as subscribe on all our socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and the Beer Garden Empire on YouTube. And if you're listening to this, hopefully you subscribe on Spotify, iTunes, Tune Radio, anywhere good podcasts are found. But round 11 is kicking off with the triumphant Knights returning home to McDonald Jones Stadium to take on the Brisbane Broncos on Thursday night. For Brisbane, Timari Martin has been named at fullback. He's got a bit of a concern about his hip. Brisbane have brought back Frizzell from injury, Daggy on an extended bench, as well as Jake Clifford and Anthony Milford named to start at 6. In fact, just looking at the actual squad, Daggy is going to start at 3, wearing the number 20. Milford in. Exciting times against his former club. Oli, how are you starting round 11?
Well, of course, this is Milford's return game, right? Like, of course,
had to be.
Of course, this is it. I'm going Brisbane 13 plus, and I'm actually really excited to see how they go against, like, now that they've hit their stride, how they go against a really bad team, because I think 50's in the equation. I'm not necessarily tipping 50, you know what I mean? But I think it's in the equation here. So I am going to go 13 plus to Brisbane. Why not keep the hot hand going with Selwyn Cobbo as the first try scorer, and man of the match, the man, Adam Reynolds.
Fun.
Newcastle do have a few more points of attack when you add Frizzell, Daggy into this team, and Milford occasionally does do stuff and it leads to points. Been a long layoff, so I'm not expecting him to provide a lot of points, but
he's fresh.
Frizzell and Daggy do definitely add some points of attack to this Newcastle team, which has been seriously lacking over the last couple of weeks. I was sort of...
What about their points of defence? How are they looking?
Yeah, not great. Daggy does sort of plug a hole a little bit, and so does Frizzell, realistically. So I think they're both pretty good ins on both sides of the field, to be honest. And it made me look at 1 to 12 once, and then I decided that wasn't going to happen because out of, as I mentioned in the previous show, the review show, Adam Reynolds was the best player at Magic Round last week, and I expect that to continue. I'm not going to tip him for man of the match, though. I'm going to go Brisbane 13 plus, but I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I think Newcastle may actually post above 20 points in this game, but the Broncos may post above 40. So, man of the match, I'm going to go with Payne Haas. He's too hard to go past, and he basically could have his way with this forward pack at different times. Clemmer's the only bloke who's going to stand up to him, and if he gets on top of that early, Payne Haas will be man of the match. And I'm going to go with first try scorer Cobbo, whether it be a kick, whether it be a pass. I just think, as Daggy mentioned in the preview show, the review show, there is a way to turn Brisbane around, and it's to kick in behind their centres who have been rushing out in defence considerably over the last 2 to 3 weeks. It has come up with, it has stopped a lot of points in the last 3 to 4 weeks, but someone that could get the ball in behind them. I'm not saying Newcastle will do it, but I can see it in the next couple of weeks where there will be a lot of points scored with short kicks in and behind a rushing Broncos defence. But Brisbane 13 plus, man of the match, Payne Haas, first try, Cobbo.
I'm going to keep the roll going with Brisbane as well. Obviously, let's not lose sight of the fact if Canterbury were the worst performance of Magic Round, I think Newcastle was second.
Very close.
So
I think Sharks are probably second, and Newcastle maybe.
Yeah, but that's grading on a curve. So I am going to say Newcastle, if they're worth their salt and if they're heading the direction I think they are, will absolutely put the cleaners through. And what I like about Adam Reynolds is now he's just got that confidence where he's not just the old Adam Reynolds. He's now creative and he's happy to take the piss when he needs to and
he's running
do a bit. And he's running the ball. And I think he will be man of the match. I think hot streak will keep going because he'll be worth 3 try assists and maybe try for himself. Yeah. Corey Oates' first try scorer off one of those said try assists in the air. And I think it will put in perspective exactly where Newcastle is at the moment. I'm hoping for a similar scoreline to last week, put it that way. Friday night kicks off with the West Tigers taking on the Bulldogs, where at the moment Kapoa and Peachy named in the centres, but the male is Naden will start there. Jock Madden at 6 for Luke Brooks, and which pushes Luke Garner into the back row. And Faemanu Brown makes his first grade debut for the club. Been doing good things in reserve grade, I understand. There is a lot of mail that this Bulldogs team will look nothing like this tomorrow. But currently, the main change is Avarillo coming into the centres, and that's about it. Usual for Tala Mariner and those sort of players on an extended bench. Hopefully, we do see some of them come in and be given a crack. This has all a stink. Leichardt Oval, new coach, team completely rooted. This has a massive stink of Tigers fucking this up royally. So I am very tempted to tip the Bulldogs, but I'm not going to. I'm going to tip the Tigers. I almost want to say 13 plus, but it's probably going to be 1 to 12 because they won't be that good. Jackson Hastings will lead the show and get him around the park. So I'll give him man of the match. And first try scorer, Garner into the back row, a pair closer, but he's been playing pretty well. And I think just having that first crack off the halves there might find a nice hole for him to walk over and score in. Barn?
I'm with you. To me, on paper at the moment, this Bulldogs starting forward pack actually has an edge over the Tigers. Luke Thompson matches Tarmow, in my opinion. Vaughan probably shades Musgrove if he plays well. Topine was fantastic at the back end.
I'm glad I didn't mention him, but it's about time he's got a proper crack.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming back in as starting back rower, I'd probably back him in that position to shade Garner again. To be the Penguin, depends what day of the week we're playing the game of football and what mood he turns up in. Often Gowie has been better, so the forwards pretty much cancel each other out. The big problem with me is Kapoa and Peachy defending in the centres. If they were playing anybody else in the competition, I'd back the other team to win 13 plus, but they're playing the Bulldogs that do have very little spark in attack. So I convinced myself to tip the Bulldogs 1 to 12, and then I turned around and tipped the Tigers 1 to 12. And I'm going to have Tigers 1 to 12. Hastings, as we mentioned, was one of the more impressive proponents of being a controlling half at Magic Round that we saw live. So I'm going to go with him for man of the match, and I'm going to go first try scorer. I like what I saw out of the young fella on the wing there too, Junior Tupu. So I'm going to go with him for the first try scorer of the game.
So not only do the Bulldogs have a new coach, it's at Leichardt Oval, all this stuff with Naden, but also as their interim coach, the Bulldogs couldn't just go and get
had to get a
fella. It had to be a former Tigers head coach. Half the team or whoever, or a lot of key players are probably going to miss this game that have been named because of a cough. Good timing there, Barney.
Nice, well done.
So I'm going to say this is one of those dumb rugby league miracles, and the Bulldogs, I'm tipping them 1 to 12, and then they don't win another game this year. And the next time these two teams play, the Tigers win. But I'm going to go with the crazy rugby league thing this week because it does generally happen. So I'm going to go Dogs 1 to 12. Now I've actually got to pick a man of the match and first try scorer, which I didn't think of because it's the Bulldogs.
Probably Fox.
I'll say, isn't he one of the
Burton and Fox? If
if
you're
they're
going dogs, it's got to be Burton and Fox.
Oh, yes, they are. They are in doubt. You're right.
But I think those are the two in doubt. Should I take that into consideration right now? I won't, because otherwise it'll be too hard to pick. So, yep, let's just go Burton and Fox. But I was about
on the serious side, the one thing that did swing me towards the Tigers was the bench. Have a look at the bench. Tuolagi, Twal, and Ukamanu against King, Biondi, Stimson. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, that is it. Twal and Tamano off the bench should be able to do some good things through the middle.
Absolutely,
You'd think against this team.
And Tuolagi's been serviceable every game he's played as well. He's been, so.
I won't miss him as much as I thought I would at Manly next year at the start of the year. He's a player. Anyway, let's get to Parramatta and Manly from Combank. Friday night main event for Para. Nia Corey's back, which pushes Bryce Cartwright out of the side, and Madison named at lock, which probably deservedly so. Well, definitely deservedly so. Yep. Sevo has been named in New South Wales Cup, so we'll keep an eye on him. They've named Tommy Turbo, despite he's only got one leg attached at the moment, and Josh Schuster is on the bench with Andrew Davey into the starting side and Ben Turbo out. Morgan Harper comes back in to start. Ollie?
I really should be going Parramatta 13 plus based off of what we saw from Manly last week, but I just feel like it'll be Parramatta to 12. Yeah. I guess there's that bit of a traditional rivalry, but also Manly do still have the ability to put up a bit of a fight against a team like Parramatta, who, if they're not totally on, could slip up a little bit. Now, that doesn't mean Parramatta will lose, but I do think it'll end up 1-12. Probably a case where Parramatta get off to an early lead and then gradually throughout the second half, I think Manly might crawl back to an extent, and then Parramatta will sort of reinforce themselves. And I'll say they win at 1-12 reluctantly. I'll say Mitch Moses gets man of the match. I'll say he kicks them home, which would be a big effort against Ali Cherry Evans in terms of the kicking games there specifically. And I'll say man of the match. I'll go with Ryan Madison back at lock. Oh, sorry, not man of the match. First try scorer, running up straight through the middle, crashing over.
Pretty much taken everything that I was about to say, to be honest.
Yeah, it doesn't feel too good, does it, Barney?
If Desi didn't stand up, Martin Tapau, Tafoa Stipley, Kepi and Aloye after last week's performance and absolutely tear them to shreds in the dressing room after last week's game, I would be absolutely surprised. And I think on the back of that, that's why I'm only going the Eels 1-12, because I think you'll see a much better performance out of the middles from Manly, because they were disgusting last week. Add in Ola Kawatu, who's going to probably score a try and do some damage on that edge. But when you've got Papali'i and Madison, who are two of the best informed back rowers at the moment, coming at you from this Parramatta side, and Moses from what he did, as I mentioned, and Mahoney, or Marnie, sorry, is the way he likes his name pronounced, out of this Parramatta side, who I thought were two of the better performances out of the Parramatta team. I wanted to tip them 13 plus, but I just think there will be some kind of bounce back out of this Manly side, and they may even be in front at some point in this game. But I think Parramatta will just close it out. Parramatta 1-12. Man of the match, Moses. He was impressive last week, and I expect that to continue. And I think Madison, if starting, may score the first try for Parramatta.
I was going to be more conservative, but no, the more I think about this, in the last month, Manly got blown off the park in 40 minutes against the Sharks, should have lost to the Tigers, got destroyed last week. So I think Parramatta, if they step up, can win 13 plus. It is Parramatta. As I said last week, I trusted them last week. They let me down. So it is Parramatta, is all I'll say. I still think that they have the points in them to put past this team. I'm going to say Dylan Brown, first try scorer, running a nice running effort, probably just taking Morgan Harper with him. And crashing over out to the left there. Man of the match, I think Mitch Moses is in pretty good form, and I think if it's not him, I can see him and Papali both polling in the points come this time next week. It seems pretty obvious, but that's the way I'm going. Dragons and Warriors kick off Saturday at... When do they go back to New Zealand? Is it after Origin?
Round 13, I think, was when it was first slated.
It got pushed back a bit,
makes sense.
I think maybe around... So I think it is just after the Origin period.
So I just had the thought that it is the 3 o'clock game. But anyway, Dragons and Warriors. Cody Ramsey is the new fullback. No more Sloan, who is gone. And is he even in the bench? No, he's not.
Nope.
Gozowski comes to start with Maguire injured, and Michael Molo, younger brother of Francis, will make his debut on the bench. Tohu Harris starts for the Warriors. Ewan Aitken comes back in as well, so 2 big ins there. And Jesse Arthurs and Harris DeVito are on an extended bench. Barney boy?
Just on the back of those 2 you mentioned, I can't believe it, but I'm going to tip the Warriors in this game. I think Aitken and Harris starting. We all know how good Tohu Harris is. He had a little bit of a blowout last week, and I think he will probably be the dominant forward alongside Fanua Blake in this game. Jazz Tavanga has been impressive for the last 3 or 4 weeks as well, so throw him in the back of that. I think the Warriors get home in a forward-dominated battle over a fairly small forward pack for the Dragons, to be honest, that we've mentioned, especially Gumpy, who we're missing right now. I would have enjoyed a bit of input out of Gumpy, but unfortunately not to be. So I've got the Warriors 1-12. I'm going to go Tohu Harris, man of the match, and I'm going to go first try scorer for Marcelo Montoya.
I can't believe I'm going to agree with you, but actually, for all the reasons you've said, you throw in the fact Fanua Blake found some form last week, and Lodge has been probably the pick of their side in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So it is going to be an ugly game, and hoping it's like Parramatta, hoping they turn up, and if this forward back turns up, I think they win 1-12 as well. I am taking narrative Dragons have peaked, and we will not have to worry about them too much for the rest of the year. And there's some holes in the lineup, and I look at it with Mbai in the middle of the field and Ramsey at fullback. First try scorer. Well, let's go with Ewan Aitken back into this team, and man of the match, I think Tohu, he's back. Hopefully, second up off a year off, can perform well enough. He's probably going to make 63 tackles and 40 hit-ups and big man of the match, Ollie.
I'm actually going to go with the Dragons here because despite the loss against a bunch of geeks, and they did look bad in that game, a couple of weeks before that, there was a bit of ascendancy there. There was a sort of a better look about the Dragons, and I think it is still possible to get back to that, especially against a team such as the Warriors. Barney's just stormed off because he can't believe what I just said. But I'm going to go the Dragons 1-12, but I do think in many of the games that they win for the rest of the year, and I'm not saying it will be many, but in the games they do win for the rest of the season, Ben Hunt's just got to be the one carrying him, essentially.
Absolutely.
So I think Ben Hunt will be man of the match. And first try scorer, though, I'm going to go Reece Walsh from the Warriors. I feel like it might be a bit of a back and forth game.
Cracker. Cowboys and Storm, 5:30 from Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Wishart is again at fullback for the Storm. Hughes comes back in at 7, and Brandon Smith starting at prop with Nelson Sofa-Solomona out. Eremiah comes onto the bench for the Cowboys. They are once again unchanged, 5 in a row, going for 6 at home. Oliver, what are you doing?
Do you remember a few weeks ago when we were talking about the lead up to the Sharks Storm game about this being a bit of a litmus test for the Sharks? Well, based off of our preseason predictions, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but this is a bit of a litmus test for the Cowboys in saying that. And this is nothing against what the Cowboys have done this year, but I have that feeling that Melbourne might just blow them off the park. A lot of it to do with what happened last week, the cavalry coming back. You'd have to think Bellyache would have blown rockets upon rockets up their asses this week. They would have been training the house down. I'm not going to say something like a 50-0 or anything like that, but I do think it'll be 13+. I feel like the Cowboys might actually be on top early, but I just can see Melbourne in the end running away with it. Probably, I'm tipping maybe between a 16-20 point margin. The Cowboys to still get a few points, though. I think we'll come out of this game thinking the Cowboys didn't look terrible, but Melbourne were just on. So I'm going to say Cameron Munster gets the man of the match because I think he in particular has a bit of a point to prove after last week being that one sort of shining light for Melbourne against Penrith. And first try scorer, I am going to go with, I might actually go with Tom Dearden here from the Cowboys. Bit of a surprise early try.
I agree with what you said. Of what you've said, I can see a clear Storm bounce back here as well. Big concern. I do have concerns when I think about potentially the back three of Melbourne still, and even their edge defense, which if Tuolangi's on like he was last week, is a concern. But I don't think it's going to be man of the match, but I think the inclusion of Jerome Hughes will calm down the other two. And I'm saying Storm 13 plus, man of the match, Harry Grant, first try scorer, Cheese, off Harry Grant, a nice crash play. And Cheese doesn't mind finding that line early, Barney.
Yeah, I'm going with you guys, but I'm not going to the 13 plus extent. I think the Cowboys may actually be a fair way in front for the first 20 minutes or so. But as I mentioned with Manly, if Bellyache didn't stand his front row up, or his entire forward pack realistically, and tear shreds off them after the game with what performance they put in Magic Round, I'd be very surprised. So I can expect a much stronger performance out of Melbourne's forward pack. And I don't mind Brandon Smith at prop, to be honest, especially early, because, you know, he's going to tackle his ass off. He's going to run the ball hard for 15, 20 minutes and then probably slot back into that 13 position and interchange with Harry Grant, who will both be playing a ball-playing role for the rest of the game, which will open up the edges for the Melbourne team. I think Cowboys are going to be gallant. They're going to probably look like a winner at some point in this game, but the Storm will just be too strong at the end. Munster's going to have a point to prove. He's still playing for a contract at the moment, and he wants as many numbers in that contract that he can possibly get over the next couple of weeks. So he's going to try and add a few in this game. And first try scorer, Xavier Coates last week was too bad to be true. So don't be surprised if he scores a double or possibly a hat-trick this week, and one of them be the first try of the game.
You look at those forward-backs, I know the Cowboys forwards have been fantastic, but size-wise, even without Nelson there, they've got an edge. Absolutely. Maybe not on pace, but you'd think if they wanted to really just turn into a belting match, they should.
If you add Harry Grant and Brandon Smith to there, and then you want to talk about pace, you put those two in there. They've got better pace than the rest of the pack. So,
Roosters Penrith, very intriguing game at the SCG, where the Chooks have Nat Butcher starting for Radley and Lindsay Collins back onto the bench after his suspension. Again, Connor Watson named at 9, but might do the usual change. And Penrith, exactly what you expect from last week. And they probably have Ivan Cleary back too, if they've managed to save his leg. I am going to say that Penrith are too impressive last week and commit to the fact I think they are a few brackets higher than the Chooks. They're a more complete side.
Favourites for the competition.
And they should put on another show here. I'm going to say we saw the left edge last week. Let's go with that right edge. Let's go Stephen Crichton first try, and let's say Cleary's. Let's say Cleary's. That's why I did it first. Cleary's going to be man of the match because he'll get to have his night out and play to that side. Potentially even 2 tries for Bizza coming. I can feel it. Oli, I'll go on, Barney. Tell us what I was going to say.
Yeah, no, well, you've just said it. Except I'm going to go with Yo as man of the match because I think it's going to be played a little bit more direct and played at the front line rather than out the back. I think it'll be Yo taking the ball into the line for Cleary with a quick shift out to Creda, and to preempt what our the newest segment that we have at the moment is going to be a bit of a critter show, I think, coming out of this game. And you're going to have Penrith winning 13 plus. Isaiah Yeo is man of the match and Crichton to score the first of possibly 3 tries in this match.
It seems in recent years especially Penrith enjoy versing the Roosters and beating them, because I think for so long after they beat them in that 03 grand final, the Roosters sort of had an edge. And then, in recent years, I think Penrith they've had fun beating the Roosters because for so long they were sort of underdogs. And there's that bit of history there. So I am also going to go 13 plus. I don't think it's going to be an absolute flogging or anything. If this game was played 3 to 5 weeks ago, I think probably is. But I feel like the Roosters have developed. It is going to be interesting to see the forward pack battle. Penrith should still win it, but in terms of a few individual efforts from Roosters players like Take Aho, Ruia Hargreaves, Matt Butcher, for example.
We're going to get an idea of where their back row lines up because they've been underwhelming at most games this year.
Yeah, well, I think that's where they might actually struggle. The second rowers in particular. But yeah, Penrith 13 plus, man of the match. I'm going to go Nathan Cleary for a kicking masterclass, and first try scorer, I'm going to go Isaac Tago.
One I didn't mention, obviously, Liam Martin. It was one of his poorer games last week, and I think he might be a little bit upset with Kikau taking the limelight over the last couple of weeks. So don't be surprised if you see Martin back on running from the back fence again and causing all sorts of havoc on that side of the field, which will lead to Crichton having a day out. But that's one of the things that you get with the top teams. It's not even competition against the players that they're playing against. They're competing against the other players that are in their team because they don't want to be shown up by their opposite number in their own fucking football team. So
what a luxury, eh?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Raiders, Rabbitohs.
Give me a minute. This fucking Labrador's lost his mind. Raiders, right?
The Bunnies host the Raiders at Dubbo with Jacob Host out, meaning Trent Peoples comes in to the starting lineup. It was okay on debut. Then we lose Schuster. Frawley goes to 7, and Jack Whiten comes back in to make the Canberra team much, much worse.
Schneider?
No, Schneider.
Playing for 2 teams.
Oh?
You said Schuster.
Oh, Schneider. Sorry.
Canberra probably wouldn't mind Schuster, but anyway.
I'd probably take him. Anyway, what are you doing here, Bun?
Oh, I'm actually going with the Raiders. Believe it or not, Rabbitohs have underwhelmed me significantly recently. It might be some bias because the Raiders fucking flogged shit out of my pathetic Sharks last weekend, but I just think the Raiders forward pack, if they do what they did last week, they will comprehensively have the upper hand in the forward pack against this South team who's have relied heavily on Damien Cook and Cameron Murray to do the majority of their defence. Totola was fantastic last week, but he's one of those guys that's up and down. Kulamatungi is very consistent, but there's not a lot else in this forward pack that excites me, to be honest. And last week, Hudson Young, Tapani, Papali'i, and Hawira Naira were very good. And if they put up that same performance this week, I think they'll get over the top of the Rabbitohs. I'm going to go with Whiten. We've been bagging shit out of him for probably 18 months, but I think this is the kind of game where he'll get a little bit of space and be able to put some footwork on and run over the top of some poor defence from the Rabbitohs on their own defensive line and be man of the match, score a try or 2, and first try scorer Nick Kotrick.
Really?
What does the NRL have against country towns? Because I swear this year, every single game that's been in a country town just about have been some absolute shockers, and this one's just about the best of the bunch. There was Penrith Newcastle when Newcastle were actually a good team, but
Sharks and Tigers is coming up soon.
Yeah, so a nice flogging.
It was Penrith Manly last year.
The Tigers will flog Sharks. You what?
But anyway, I'm going to agree. I'm going to go Canberra 1-12. I'm going to say Nick Kotrick first try scorer as well. Keep his form going, and man of the match, Papali'i to keep his little bit of form going as well. Why not? South Sydney they suck, and it's shocking to see. But grand finals last year, but again, it once again reinforces how important, and Gump said it at the very start of the year, how important halfbacks specifically are to NRL clubs, because they literally, I think it's been proven now, make or break your chances of either making the top 8, top 4, or winning a premiership these days, to be honest.
I can't believe I'm going to make the clean sweep here for Canberra. But I agree with what you said, both of you. And the right forward pack and the right type of forward pack to trouble the Rabbitohs. All their forwards have a bit of footwork. And I think they're the right... Yeah, I just think this sets up really well for Canberra, believe it or not. I would have loved to have seen, and it would never ever happen, I'd love to have seen White in the centres because I think he would have probably torn them apart. And unfortunately, not getting that, he'll play well, but I'm going to give man of the match to Puppy on the backup. You right? I was at the dog. Sorry. Someone got very excited
stupid
then.
Labrador.
What? Man of the match, yeah, Puppy. First try scorer, Seb Chris. Maybe to make it 2 in a row there. Getting over Jackson Paulo. Interesting idea of Campbell Graham, who played on the...
My dog's trying to rip my left arm off right now. So
just let him and we'll move on.
That's fine. Stop complaining. And main event on Sunday afternoon, Titans and Sharks from Seabus. For the Titans, just looking through here, they look pretty much... Essen Masters, is it 4? Is that normal? That's not normal. He's there. Lockie Miller comes into the side at 1 for the Sharks, which moves Nico back to 7, where he probably should have been all along. Wade Graham named to start, as is Cam McGuinness. Tolman, Trindle, Wilton, Fafita at the bench. Barney, you bouncing back?
Oh, if they don't, I'll be very, very upset, which I currently am at the moment. So I may be in the same position next week, describing the Titans 13+ win. But no, push Nico back into the halves, and it makes Nico in the halves makes a 20-point difference compared to what they put on the field last week. We lost by 20, and they only had 11 players on the field, but their defense last week was 10 times better than what I've seen out of the Titans for the majority of this year. I can see the outside backs getting... Realistically, this relies on Toby Rudolph and Royce Hunt, how they start this match. And if they start it the way that the Sharks want to, the Sharks will be dominant for the first probably hour of this game and get out to a pretty handy lead at one point. And then we'll see what happens after that. But Toby Rudolph up against Mo Fotuaika does not excite me whatsoever. But yeah, no, I think the Sharks have got enough in them. They've already proven at this point that they're close enough, if good enough, with the top 4 to 5 teams in this competition, and the Titans aren't one of those teams. So I'm going to have the Sharks 13+. Nico Hines, whenever the Sharks win, Nico Hines is the best player on the field. And I'm going to go first try scorer. Why not give it to Lockie Miller at fullback? Apparently he was a 7 superstar, and if he's that quick and gets put into some time and space, he will run through holes and score the first try of the game.
Oh, he'll have plenty of time and space, don't you? What was that little tournament we came up with last year for when our teams versus each other? I know the Sharks won it for like the head-to-heads. We might as well call it the Geek Cup because at least 2 of the teams are the Geeks. Cronulla, talk about playing a team back into form. The Titans are specials at it. We played the Chooks back into form. Now we're going to play Cronulla back into form. Nico back at 7. He's going to be man of the match, and I'm going to say first try scorer as well. The Titans are also a team who like to give up monstrous performances to an individual. Last year on Tom Trbojevich's return, he did it. Earlier this year, James Tedesco had an absolute blinder, played him back into form. Why not? Now Nico's back at the 7. He's going to get 3 try assists, maybe 3 tries himself. I'll just sit back and applaud because...
Maybe they could play both of them back into form, and Talakai could get 3 of the tries from the try assists.
I forgot about Talakai going against the Titans.
Running it bloody Isan Masters or Philip Sanders.
All right, I'll change the first try scorer, Talakai, but I'll stick with Hines as man of the match. Jesus Christ, I can't even I'm not even going to be mad or disappointed. I'm going to be happy for you, Barney, because you take
good.
Back
yeah, beautiful.
But we're doing you a favour, so just keep that in mind.
I'll keep that in mind. I'll owe you one.
From what I saw last week from the Sharks, adding Graham to the starting line doesn't overly want me to make me rush out and do cartwheels about them, but
think of the opposition.
Yeah, Yeah, I know, but I can't bring myself to
I
tip
think
the
the Titans win this forward battle.
I think they do too. So that's what has me a bit confused. I am going to default, give Sharks the benefit out for a bad week, and go 1 to 12 Sharks. Talakai, as you've mentioned, the stands out like a sore thumb against this edge defense here. I think he'll get a try, possibly 2. And if he does that, he'll probably be man of the match. But Nico will get 2 points, and probably McGuinness 1 if they're to win. All on the Titans forward pack there. They have the key to winning this game if they do slow layer platform. I think this game could fucking suck.
Yeah,
I'll be realistic. This game could fucking suck, and in which case it could be a similar finish. Be a similar finish to last week where someone scores in the last minute. But I'm going to default and say Sharks should bounce back.
Barney, a lovely Sunday afternoon at the Grey Gums.
Sounds enticing.
Daggy, you can come along as well, of course.
We'll see how we go. If not, we might throw up a Zoom. So we'll see how I go with various other commitments, namely small children that popped out of me.
So
to speak.
I'm not sure that works.
At first,
9 months earlier.
Hey. Anyway, let's talk about disaster class time. Did anyone get any money last week?
No, nobody made any money last week. Oh, fucking Labrador.
Cool.
Say hello to everyone. Up there.
I'm gonna. While Barney's doing that, I'm going to tip 10.
So Daggy's now in a positive $25. So there's a chance of slipping into the negative this week. I'm positive $305.40, wherever that 40 cents came from. Oliver is a positive $210 at this point, and Gumpy is minus 350, and he did not bet last week.
That dog has a really good disaster class that wants to share, and
well, the dogs are barking, Barney, so you better go first.
Yes, we'll just flick over the page and find where my bets are. I've got $40 on the Sharks, Panthers, Storm, Parramatta, and Brisbane, all to win at head-to-head matches at $5.40. I'm going to have $5 on Isaiah Papali'i in Parramatta to score the first try at $17. And I'm going to have $5 on Brian Crichton from the Penrith team at $11.50.
I'm going to have $10 on Herbie, first try scorer on Thursday night at $12. And a simpler head-to-head returning, I think it was $3, did I say? $2.90 something. Whatever I told you before, Barney.
Stephen Crichton. But yeah, $3. You got Brisbane Tigers, Penrith head-to-head.
Brisbane, that's the one. Thank you for doing my job for me.
$40, $40 at 3.
Let's get back to a bit of stupidity with these things.
Yes, bring it on.
Titans 13+. I'm going to say Tino to score and Mo to score.
I like it.
That's a big price. Anytime. Yeah. Oh, fuck. This dog is content on trying to rip my left arm off.
PCTC and Supercoach wrap.
Yeah, Pop Rod is still winning, and he's about 6 points ahead of anybody else in the overall competition for the PCTC. Just need to find how many points he's on. He's on 62 points at the moment. From 2nd to 7th, they're all joined up together on 56 points. Beaver's running first in the Footy and Frothies competition on 55 points. Jen is running second on 54 points. Flobs and Jamie Keith are equal with her in second position. I'm running 5th and 17th overall on 53 points. Oliver's running 8th and 34th overall on 51 points. And the leader, our magnificent leader, Daggy, is running 12th in the Footy and Frothies competition, 53rd overall on 48 points.
Supercoach. Go check out PCTC on Facebook if you'd like to join any of the sports tipping comps. They're a lot of fun.
Shania, Callan, and Danon are all running equal first. Shania on for and against is outright first on 14 points. Daggy is running 4th on 12 points. Gump is running 6th on 12 points. I'm running 12th on 10 points, and Oliver is running dead last in 20th position on 2 points. Daggy won the belt up against Oliver last week, who made no trades and had one player on his bench and managed to lose by about 80 points. I'm playing Danon this week, so it's 12th against 3rd. And Daggy for the belt is playing Ben, which is Tiger Toons, who is currently running 16th, and Daggy is running 4th.
Oh, my mercy.
Yeah, we've left you out.
Doesn't matter anymore.
At the moment, until you make about 12 trades to your team over the next 4 weeks, you are non-existent in the Footy and Frothies Super League.
That's okay. I'll just hang out here.
Coach League. Oh, yeah. Right.
Stop stroking.
Your illegitimate joy. You sit there and stroke your illegitimate joy.
All right. What's got you frothed up? What's got you excited for this weekend? A nice bold statement.
Labrador's excited. Look at
that we're going to see.
Well, it's going to be the Liam, Brian, and the Critter Show. Sounds like a good name for a podcast. But the right-hand side for the Penrith team, they've gone down the left-hand side for 3 weeks running. I can see Penrith getting 20-plus points out of the right-hand side, and Stephen Crichton being the star of the show on that right-hand side for the Penrith attack.
I was going to go similar, but with 2 O's. So Oliver, well, I think of something better.
Nico Hines to just have a world-class performance.
I'm going to comment on both those games. Brian 2-0, 2 tries at least, I think, coming this week for all the reasons Barney said. And I will double down on my statement. I think we will be discussing the Titans-Sharks game in the pantheon of shit games this year. I think it could be an absolute stinker, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. There. Car crash territory. This will be up there for the Titans and the Tigers. And
there's a fight for alpha dog status in my home at the moment.
All right, well, I'm going to probably wrap this show up because it looks like you're having all sorts of issues there.
Yeah, I'm in a fight for my life.
Next week when we join Zoom, it's just going to be Barney's dog sitting there. Out of his mouth.
Wearing his
telling you how good the defensive line speed was from fucking Penrith. Yeah.
Control your mutt. All right. Check out rugbyleaguemerch.com. Follow us all around the world. And tune in next week. Hopefully we'll have the gump back too, boys. Enjoy the weekend. And
Love you all.
We will talk to everyone very soon. Catch you guys.
Good night.